This happened a year or so ago, so forgive the lack of specific detail. One day after work, around 4 or 5 p.m., me and a girl I worked with decided to go see a movie. It was a rough shift, and her and I felt like a movie would be nice. She asked if we could stop by her house so she could change clothes from her work uniform. I said that's fine, since it was maybe 5 minutes away tops. We stayed at her house for a bit, ate a quick snack, then got in my car. She asked if we could stop by the gas station by her house so she could grab a Red Bull. Once again, I was fine with that, because it was near her house. When we got there, the only parking was on the side of an abandoned car wash right beside the gas station. To form a better image, the gas station and car wash were right next to each other, both entrances facing the same way. It was entirely dark outside. The gas station was a fairly run-down one, and didn't have any lights at the gas pumps like most do, so it was pitch black except for the light coming from my car. A semi-truck was on the side of the gas station, and had cones indicating the area that would give the driver to do what he needed. So, I assumed the parking spots wouldn't be too close, and I parked. My friend got out and went inside, while I decided to stay in the car, since she would only be a few minutes. I locked my doors after she got out, as it was a force of habit to do so. I went on my phone for a bit, and after a couple minutes, I saw a light flash on the driver's side mirror of my car. I turned to look, since it was pointed in my direction. The truck driver had a flashlight pointed at my window, and just held it there for maybe 20 or so seconds. I was kinda freaked out, but assumed he had a reason for doing so. He then began walking towards my window, still with a flashlight on. I rolled down my window, no more than an inch, assuming maybe he was just going to tell me to move my car. He stopped when he got 2 to 3 feet away from my window, then turned around. At this point, I was pretty scared, just because there was no reason for what he did, so I just rolled my window back up and waited for my friend. I'm still watching the guy, just in case, and I saw him rummage around in the front part of the semi-truck for a bit, stop, then turn around and head back to my car. There was something in his hand. I'm not sure what, and honestly I'm glad I didn't know. He began walking towards my window, saying some gibberish to himself, but loud enough for me to hear. He got to my door this time and tried to open it by pulling the handle a couple of times, but was unsuccessful. Then, he started to pull more aggressively, as my friend exited the gas station and walked into the ordeal. She looked scared, I was scared, and the guy saw her walking to my car and quickly bolted back to his truck. My friend ran back into the passenger seat, and I drove away as quickly as possible. I'm not entirely sure what happened, or what was going to happen. The only theory my friend could think of was that maybe when he saw that I was a girl, when he flashed his flashlight at my window, he assumed I'd be a good target to kidnap or put into sex trafficking. Again, it's just a theory though, and potentially a reach at that, but I'm glad I won't ever have to find out what he was doing. This was a story I grew up hearing from my mom. I was really young when this happened, and I know for a fact it was before I was 5. I only have some foggy memories of the event, especially because my mom at the time didn't want me to freak out. Some context. First, we have family all over the country. I remember spending so much of my childhood on road trips from state to state to visit all of them. So we know our ins and outs when it comes to traveling. Second, when I was a child, I would randomly hug strangers and tell them I loved them. I was so filled with joy and love that it just spilled over onto other people. There was basically only one stranger I never immediately latched onto the second I saw them. And this is that story. My mom was taking me to visit some relatives while my dad was staying at home with my brothers. She had to go house sit, and in general is a better caretaker of me than my father, so it made sense that I went with her. We were driving for hours until we finally hit a rest stop and got out to use the restroom. Now, there was already this guy in the parking lot, and according to my mom, it looked like he was watching everyone who was entering and leaving the rest stop. The second we got out of the car, he did too. My mom held my hand as we head into the restroom, but immediately picked up on the fact I let go of her hand to hold her other hand, the side of her away from the man. Now looking back, she told me that it was clear somewhere in my tiny child brain I picked up some sign of danger because I avoided the man as much as I could and would quicken my pace to the restroom and car. I never did that with another stranger ever again. I had never blatantly avoided another adult like that. Anyways, we do our business and head back to the car, and the man had gone back to his car and watched us leave, only to then follow us in his own car. My mom immediately realized what was going on and tried to shake him off on the highway. He wouldn't budge and tried to get as close as he could. Apparently, while doing this, a semi-truck driver noticed how frantic and off she was driving and could see her looking back at his car. He realized what was going on and drove up to her side and kind of made eye contact with her, and they were on the same page from then on out. Turns out the driver called up on his radio to other truckers and told them what was going on, and a bunch of drivers from different routes nearby came onto the same highway we were traveling on. A few minutes later, they began blocking out the guy's car and essentially trapping him away from my mother and I as she turned onto an exit to get off the highway to another rest stop as the original truck driver followed us in. After parking, the truck driver got out and talked to my mom and told her he picked up what was happening, asked us if we were okay, and drove with us to a Burger King and got us something to eat. We talked, and he followed us back onto the road until eventually we went our separate routes. So, to the guy who probably was gonna try to kidnap my mom and me, let's not meet. To the truck driver who probably saved our lives, thank you.